Recording, 20 seconds to open.
Huh? I think it happened recently. Oh, yeah, I mean, people are apologizing to me. I'm like, I get it.
Hitting the open.
Now from Atlanta News First Plus, this is Sports Tonight.
And welcome into ANF Plus Sports Tonight. Ellie Parker with Connor Hines. Connor, it's been a bit since we've done this.
How you doing, Ellie?
I am doing quite all right.
Good, good. All right is good enough sometimes.
Yeah.
We got a lot to get to.
We got a lot to get to.
Yeah.
It's been very busy in the world of sports, of course.
Maybe not for the right reasons.
Maybe not for the right reasons, certainly. We're going to start off with Emily and I talked about this yesterday. This team cannot catch a break.
They really can't. The Atlanta Braves, bit by the injury bug like no other. AJ Minter, the latest victim there with the hip injury. He had surgery, I believe, yesterday. So his season's over. Not the first.
Not the first.
Doesn't feel like the last at this point either.
No.
But, Ellie, despite all of this, the Braves still within striking distance of the National League East. There's time to play with. Technically. You got five games.
This is why you play the games.
You got 5 games to go against the Phillies beginning tonight at Truist Park. You're 7 back from the Phillies right now. There is time. You got it.
There is time.
You got to beat the Phillies.
But didn't last night thanks to Brandon Marsh RBI double. So this team is a little bit on the ropes because even though the Phillies have not been doing well in the second half, and the Braves have been doing better, still looking at all the injuries, looking at what this team has been through lately.
Yep. I said 7 games. There's 6 games out of first place, but either
That's
way,
a rough one.
You got to start stacking wins. You got it.
All right, let's hear from Braves manager Brian Snitker real quick after last night's game.
I think if he comes back in, if he comes in tomorrow feeling good, I'm hoping that that's what we can do. It'll determine tomorrow, everything's the next day. So, but it's been real positive the last couple of days, that's for sure. Yeah. He hit in the cage. It's the throwing's kind of popping the balls, the thing that's. But he's getting better. I mean, he's significantly better today than he was yesterday.
Care.
So
he doesn't care.
If he had to play today, he could go back there and catch him. Who? I don't know. Were we talking about Ozzie? Oh, I didn't know who you meant.
I thought I said Ozzie.
No. Yeah, I don't know about what his timeline is.
It's a little ahead of schedule with the cast off now. Is that?
That's good. I think I think actually Gary had talked about, because his progressed and they did the X-rays and everything. It was healing really good. So. Yeah, I mean, they're young and strong, and they're going to heal probably quicker than the norm. So, they just go by the X-rays, I think, and so yeah.
Did you feel good about getting a boost like that in the lineup? It's still too far off for you to even think about it.
Well, no, it'll be a boost when he comes back, whenever that is. I mean, just whenever he gets there, we'll plug him in. Yeah. No, defensively especially. We've been fortunate to have guys that have, that we could plug in there in those situations, and with the big league experience that both of those guys, all 3 of the guys we're talking about have, and they're taking a good advantage of these opportunities. So, got a lot of respect for those guys
Yes, they're
that
on the
want
road.
to keep playing. They
Dallas,
just keep
yeah.
grinding and
Yep.
take advantage of their opportunities, and they filled in really well.
Asked Merrifield about that play, that double play last night, and he said, because that's so overrated, that how hard it is for shortstops and second basemen, because that feed is right in there.
Well, that's why I talked to him when he's on deck, and I was like, you
right,
you
1
don't
minute.
usually turn that double play on Trey Turner. And Witt said, he said, I was shocked at how quick that ball got to me, and he did. He made a strong, and the one with his back to the infield that he ended up making. But, he was saying the same thing. It's just like that ball just kind of jumped on him to make it happen. And he got a lot on his throw, too.
Yeah. He said he was texting with Trey Turner. Turner said, I was running the whole way.
Yeah. No, I said, you just don't turn that double play. That double play on him. That doesn't happen.
25.
No, because that kid, he runs and he runs hard and always plays hard. And it's just with his speed, you just don't see that happen very often.
Taking. All right, that's quite enough out of Brian Snicker. This team is.
I mean, you see him, you see him laughing. He's incredulous at times. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd be hard pressed to find a season where Brian Snicker has had to deal with injuries like he has this year. So look, I mean, it's very much it is what it is thing
Yeah.
at this point, and for Atlanta to only be as far back as they are in the NL East, it's kind of remarkable in a way.
Yeah, speaks to the depth that this original roster had. Obviously, you would hope that a lot of the starters would be here. Thinking about Ronald Acuna Jr., you're thinking about Spencer Strider. Obviously, they've been out for a while, and this team is still somehow in the hunt.
Yeah.
Many other teams, if they lost guys like Acuna, guys like Strider, their seasons would be shot. They'd be just kicking the ball down the road, hoping for next year.
Yeah.
And the Braves aren't.
Yep.
They're still in it. They're still fighting for, even if they can't get to the NL East title, maybe a wild card slot.
At this point, you're playing to get into the playoffs.
Yeah.
You're playing for a postseason berth, and that's going to be a celebration if and when you do. And hey, maybe going into the wild
Maybe.
card instead of the NL East is
Maybe.
a good thing. We've seen how the Braves have had this incredible regular season, win the National League East, and then fizzle out in the playoffs. So maybe a little chip on the shoulder, Elliot, isn't
Maybe. Maybe.
Want to talk some soccer?
Atlanta United is not a very good football team.
No, they're not.
They're not a very good team. Now, granted, Rob Valentino has taken these guys at least a little bit better. They did lose to Santos in the Leagues Cup recently. And they are playing the tops in the Western Conference, LA Galaxy, tomorrow in Los Angeles. Well, in Carson, if you want to get technical. But this team, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, look, you're going to find out
They
soon.
made moves during the transfer window.
Yes.
Mostly sending guys out. Sending guys like Gigi, Thiago Almada, Caleb Wiley. They bring in a guy like Alexei Moranchuk. I still think they're looking for a striker. That's the piece this team is missing. I don't know if Alexei Moranchuk is going to be the guy.
Yeah. Kind of feels like they're in flux right now.
Definitely.
You know, the fact that Rob Valentino still has interim attached to his name kind of tells you all you need to know. This is a very, flux situation for Atlanta United. And look, I mean, you're going to find out where Alexi stands real fast against a team like LA on Saturday when they play out west. So, going to be interesting. But Coach Valentino spoke this afternoon.
He'll go with us to LA and hopefully be available for the game.
And I think I saw Morales was down there with the twos, or did I miss that?
Yeah.
So he's not going to be.
No.
Okay. Is that like a rest of the season thing, or just for
No,
them?
just a
Okay.
game like we do. We take this money that we got. The other guys that aren't going, it's good for them to get a game. Efrain's did a great job when he's had first team minutes, and also great for him to get games at any chance we can give him.
I've had 3 sessions now with Alexi. How's he looked?
Yeah, great. I'm just happy to have him here, integrate him to the team as quick as we can. This was his 3rd session today, so he's getting to know his teammates. He's off the field, obviously, and then on the field as well. So it's so early, with a player, but I think you can tell the qualities that he does have. You can tell the type of person he is, the way he interacts with the guys, so that part's really important.
When you only have 9 matches and you are trying to lock down as high a seed as you possibly can, do you have to expedite that initiation of him into the team, or do you have a plan that y'all are following?
There's always a plan, right? There's always a plan that we go into it, and making sure that, one, we get the player integrated to his teammates as quick as possible, and also at the same time as safe as possible. He's obviously not in season, wasn't in season in Italy, and then getting him the preseason that he did have, and then getting him up to speed, and then also getting him up to speed with his teammates. So, it's a tricky one, because you want to, can he go right away and play as much as he can? Also, is he familiar with teammates, those things? So there's a plan in place, and we'll follow that, but also we're trying to win games, and he's aware of that, and so he's an understanding of everything. There's a lot of communication going on. So
who puts that plan together? Out of curiosity.
It's collaboration. Like, it's everybody. I'm everybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is he able to start, do you think, fitness-wise?
I don't know. I mean, we'll see. We've had 3 sessions with him. We've had a lot of communication with him when he was in Italy. The big thing is that, he wasn't in a team environment playing with other players. So, and if he was with his old teammates playing, it's one thing, and then you're talking about integration into new teammates. But he wasn't. So it's, we were in communication. But what he was doing, they were sending information over, and then the sessions that he's had with the team have been good. Putting him into a game off the start, we'll see if that makes the most sense. We'll see.
You played a couple games with him, without him now, but when you lose a player like Thiago Almada, so ball dominant, wants to be on the ball, constantly showing for the ball, and is an outlet pretty much constantly throughout a game, how do you, not necessarily that you have to replace that, but like how do you go forward without having that kind of player in the lineup now, where it seems like Alexi is a little bit different in that sense, where he's not going to be as kind of, dropping back to the back line to pick up the ball if he needs to. Maybe he is, I don't know.
Are you asking more like the comparison of the 2 players, essentially? Because we haven't had Thiago, right?
Yeah,
so you've seen what we've tried to do without him.
Right.
But now with adding Alexi in, essentially?
Yeah. I guess it feels like you have, there's more options to be maybe a little bit even more indirect with Thiago in the lineup, just because of the way that he plays. And it seems like Alexi is maybe more geared towards being more of a forward in a sense, and is not going to be as impactful on the ball, like, from back to front, essentially, as Thiago
Gotcha.
would have been.
Yeah, he is a different player. His skill set is different. They're both quality players for sure.
Yeah.
The one thing and it's not a direct comparison, so this is what's going to be hard, right? Is everyone's going to go, is he Thiago? It was the same when Thiago was I don't know, Barco, was Barco, is Barco and Pitti, and then Pitti is Miguel. Like, we always make these comparisons. So they're all different players, and they've all had different skill sets, and I think that'll be hard. But so it's not, let's say this about Alexi and this not about Thiago, or vice versa. So Alexi coming in to be a great player for us. I think that his skill set will help highlight the other ones around him. So that's the idea, is that he can play in higher spaces, that we can get him the ball, that he can now facilitate for teammates. So, and he can also hopefully create a little bit for himself. That's the idea. Whether he drops to get the ball on the back line, I don't think that'll be his skill set. Could he do it? Sure. But it'll be the idea that you get him in pockets of space in more advanced areas to then again help facilitate for the teammates that he does have, to hopefully get them really going. He's hopefully will be a complement to what we have, and help us and challenge us, what we've told them, challenge us to make us better in a lot of different ways.
Seems like Saba is playing a little bit more on the left-hand side from time to time throughout games compared to earlier in the year, and he's certainly banged in some nice goals from that area. What have you liked seeing out of him on that left side?
Yeah, I mean, he's got the versatility that he can end up, if we ask him to play over there, he can do it. Sometimes he ends up over there when he's playing on the right side, and then I watched him the other day play on the left side run, and then he went all the way to the right side and put a cross in the box. So if we can channel his energy towards one part of the field, great. And then that's why adding a guy like Alexi that hopefully can get him the ball in those areas where we want him. But yeah, I think he has some versatility to him. We've got a guy like Edwin that has now come back to more full fitness and has trained really well over the time we've had. So you've got Shonday, that you've got guys that are starting to compete a little bit in those areas.
How nice has it been to actually be
be able to prepare tactical sessions and not just be recovering from previous games?
Yeah, I mean, it's been great, to answer the question shortly. Like, the disappointing because we didn't advance in the Leagues Cup, and I am disappointed in that. The gratefulness that I have is that we got some work in. We really focused on ourselves we had 8 sessions really that we went after, and got to focus just on ourselves and what we think we can continue to get better at, what we've been trying to attack without having any training time. I don't make excuses for it, but it was, difficult. We're taking each game as it comes and using that as like trial by fire. Like, hey, did this work? Okay, no, it didn't. How can we be better or sharpen things up to get results? That part's important. And now we looked at it, and whether we looked at some data, we looked at our individuals, we had some meetings, and we really went to video. We did a lot of different things to really try to accomplish a lot out there in the 8 sessions, try to maximize that time, because although it seems, I'm sure on the outside, everyone's like, when they haven't played in so long and all that, but like for us, it like went by like that, which is great because that means we were getting the work in, we were enjoying ourselves in the moment, and now we're ready to get back to compete.
How'd you find that balance between kind of overloading the guys with the tactical side that you wanted, keeping the physical side where you need it to be, and finding the intensity levels without the games as reward?
Yeah, I mean, we pushed the physical limits for sure. Like, we really got after it in terms of the training sessions to compete, because that's been a big part of it we've talked about for a while now, and now we were able to do it. So there was a lot of competition element. There was a lot about us, and whether it was a overall bigger tactical game, wasn't always that. It was certain drills that we were working on of like, whether it's to switch a play or whether it's attacking transition drills. We were working on certain things like that. And it didn't feel like, we were missing the game for sure, and we wanted to play games, but we mixed that in with inner squad or against other opponent stuff. But it wasn't like we were like, I feel like, maybe I'm wrong, but it didn't feel like, we haven't played in so long. We were really getting after it, and I felt like now we're ready to get set back to the competition piece.
Last night, the club published the 3rd episode of their docu-series. It sounds like you're maybe familiar with it. I'm kind of curious, as a coach, like what you make of, cameras being in the team meetings. These are typically some private times for coaches and players. What do you make of it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's nice for people to see what happens behind the scenes. I mean, if I look at it on my side, if I'm just a person, and everything I watch is like sports documentaries, so I love it.
Right, yeah.
But there's more to the stories, right? And at the same time, when we're in those environments, like I'm watching some of the stuff and I'm thinking, yikes. Not yikes, because that's me. Like, what you get, the glimpse you see, I don't know you don't see the camera, you're really speaking to the team, and that's like part of the job with whether you're a player, whether you're a staff member, you're focused on what's going on there, and now I see you guys.
Right.
But
Sorry.
in the moment of the other things, like you don't see it, and so there's definitely some things that come out of me that maybe people don't see, and I definitely got a switch that flips in that emotional side. When I get into it, like, I'm very aggressive and I'm very passionate. I think that I want to win games. Oh wait, here's coming. Sorry. I don't sugarcoat things. And especially inside that locker room, I'll make sure that we're honest with each other and we're accountable. And I'm passionate about, I want to win. I want to help them get better, for all of us to have some more shared success, to have some of that. I want to be a representation to the fans. So I know that there's some disappointment in that, but if they can see what's going on behind the scenes a little bit, maybe it helps them kind of understand the story. They won't understand all of it, and there'll be people that are with you and there'll be people that are against you. But it's the choice language is not probably the best for young ears, and my kids weren't very happy with that. I'm sure my mom's not very thrilled with it either, but that is me.
Something that you mentioned in there, and I know this is probably from like months ago, but I think it was collective accountability, or is there
shared ownership, shared success?
What does that mean? What are you trying to express to the players?
Yeah, I mean, just basic accountability. And that's also like when I do something well, like, you're going to get the praise for when you do it well. When you've been wrong or you've done something that needs fixed, like you hold your hand up to take the accountability and the ownership of it. I stand in front of the group every single day, and I'll make sure that no matter what happens out there, that's on me. I'll take that ownership and I'll take that responsibility, and gladly put a lot of work into it. So I just want to make sure that that's shared, because when the success happens, I'll give them all the praise, and I want them to share that with each other, and that we can share that within them. And it also came down to when there was the change and the turnover, that doesn't, and we've lost players, we've transferred players. That doesn't fall on just an individual player. It doesn't fall on an individual coach. That was a shared responsibility, and so it was on us, the ones that are still here, to carry it forward and try to fix it and get better.
3 weeks off and then coming back in, a really tough opponent in LA Galaxy. What are you guys going to do on the pitch on Saturday to really try to exploit them a little bit with the way that they play and coming in and really making your mark on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, I think every game will be difficult that we play in this league, but they are a good opponent. They've got good players. They've signed another player that will be another challenge, but they're good on the ball. We know that for sure. So it's about limiting the space in which they can operate. We talked about how we can be very, very solid defensively and make progression of that as a team. I'll use this game as an example, and everyone will be like, why is he talking about it? The game in Salt Lake, there was progression in it. Now, the outcome was not exactly what we wanted, but in that, there's little glimpses that we've already worked on how we can get better. So that'll be a big emphasis in this game. And then when we're on the ball, I think they're a team that will allow us to, not allow us because they don't want us to do it, I'm sure, but we'll be able to play a little bit. So how we can exploit certain spaces they leave and then turn the game in the way we want it, in the tempo we want.
How challenging is it with their questions, with Jovic coming back from injury? He's a very different kind of forward than Paintsill, who's also very different if they throw Royce in as a false nine. Mm-hmm. How difficult is it to prepare for that?
You take the trends of what they've done, really. Like, I can't think about all the what. Of course, you prep for the what ifs, and if this happens, the Royce one is always the challenge because he's not played within their team, and it's the same. They'll have the same with Alex if he plays. So I think we won't worry about that because we know he's a quality player. So we know that there's areas that he can hurt us. We focus on what they have done, the trends of what they've done, whether they've had Jovic or whether they've had Paintsill up top. Like, they have different qualities in them, and then when it gets to the detail, when we find the lineup, then we'll go into some of that. But we try to just really go off the trends of what they've done and not play a guessing game.
I apologize for going back a couple weeks, but I'm just curious. The starting lineup against Santos did not include Derek Williams. Was he dealing with a little injury there? Typically, he's just been a starter, so I'm just...
Yeah, no, it was more of a personal thing with him.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we're going to be invited in the locker rooms to do our own stories when?
Don't you guys come in every game?
I'm in every day.
Oh, okay, yeah. Come in whenever you want.
All right.
Yeah.
We got that on camera.
Thanks.
If I yell, then...
So one hopes that Atlanta United can pull out the victory against the LA Galaxy, and not to be a hater, as unlikely as that seems.
Would be big.
Would be big. Not that this team really has a chance at the MLS Cup playoffs, which is really saying something because they let in like half the league.
Yep.
But, yeah, I mean, if they win, it could be the win that sparks the momentum that leads to me eating crow when they're lifting the MLS Cup trophy. I don't know.
Positive spin.
I don't know. I think my pessimism is well founded. But, you know, leaving the door open for good things to happen.
Time will tell.
For the Five Stripes.
Let's talk about the Dream, Ellie. They had a big night, didn't they?
Yep, they beat the Phoenix Mercury last night. Obviously, the big story is Dream center Tina Charles becoming the second highest scoring player in WNBA history.
It's incredible.
Incredible stuff. Number one was on the other side of the court, Diana Taurasi. And Diana Taurasi is like 3,000 points ahead of Tina Charles. Right. So it will be a very long time, if ever.
Yeah.
And Tina Charles slides her way to number one. Diana Taurasi is just the greatest WNBA player to ever step on a court.
Very special to do it on the same floor as Diana that night. You know, Tina told our own Bailey Burmaster on the broadcast on Peachtree Sports Network, she said, look, I mean, Diana has been the legend that I and everyone else have looked up to their entire careers, and to be able to do it on that same floor, just the divine intervention kind of thing, which was really cool to see. And look, I mean, the Dream went after Tina Charles because not just because of what she provides on the court, but the record speaks for itself. She's a
Yeah.
veteran, and she's
Veteran champion.
She's a veteran champion, and she's almost like a second coach. I mean, her relationship with the coaching
Would not be
staff-
surprised if she finds her way onto a sideline after she quits playing.
I would not be surprised at all. Her relationship with the Dream coaching staff, it's just such a cool dynamic that we've been able to witness. So, look, I mean, an important result for the Dream, besides, Tina. And, maybe much like Atlanta United, maybe after this long summer break.
To
we
me,
can
this
start
this is much more likely for the Dream. They've won 3 in a row coming out of the Olympic break.
Yeah.
Lost 15 of 18 going in. So one would hope that this is the start of a turnaround that slides the Dream into the frankly very weird WNBA playoffs. But it's the playoffs.
There's time.
There's time, and once you're in, anything can happen.
No doubt.
So, Dream will face the Mercury at home again tomorrow night before moving to State Farm Arena to host Caitlin Clark.
The big one.
And the Indiana Fever. We will have the Indiana Fever game on Atlanta News First. The big station, not just PQC TV. Because we know people want to watch Caitlin Clark. She is, probably the biggest name in the WNBA.
Gonna be a tough
this year, and she's a rookie. So
half-hour pregame show leading up to tip-off on Atlanta News First. So it's going to be wall-to-wall for us and a lot of fun on Monday at State Farm. Come on.
At State Farm. And the Dream are pushing to set the record again.
Yep.
They nearly sold out the place the first time the Fever came into town, more than 17,000 seats. And they're pushing to break that record again. Hopefully they do, because the WNBA deserves all of the good things.
What do we got?
$81 million is a lot of money.
Yeah, it is.
Falcons quarterback A.J. Terrell. That is the rumored amount of money the Falcons have thrown at him for a 4-year extension onto his deal. Was the 2020 first-round pick for the Falcons, would have been playing on his 5th-year rookie option this year, and the Falcons said, screw that, throw the money at him. It's like $65 million guaranteed. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, almost 66, actually.
Now, granted, A.J. Terrell deserves the money, but that's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, and it's NFL money. I'm not surprised by that number at all. He becomes, I believe, the second highest paid cornerback at, second highest paid guy at the position all time. I think the guarantee is the highest guarantee to be ever offered on a 4-year deal to a cornerback. So, look, it's crazy money, but it's well worth it. And the bigger picture here thing, of course, is that this is the 3rd major defensive deal that the Falcons have made in the last 8 days, Ellie.
Yeah, this is...
Traded for Judon, signed free agent Simmons, and now you've extended
Terrell. This is...
If that's
this
not
is
all in, I don't know what is.
All in on the defense. All in on the defense, and especially a new look defense with the Judon and Simmons. So, for the first time in a long time, I think Falcons fans have a lot to be excited about.
And we said that last year.
We said that last year, but
feels a little different this time around.
Definitely feels a little bit different.
And I think the difference is that we've seen not only the buy-in from the fan base. Obviously, we're going to see how that transpires through the first few weeks of the season at the Benz. But we've also seen an equal buy-in from Terry Fontenot and the front office. They're making the investments. Let it play out on the field now. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
All right, CSO, what's on your mind?
The San Diego Padres, my San Diego Padres, are just 4 games out of first place in the National League West. We're in play still, Ellie. Much like the Braves, we're in play. But we need a little help
National
from the
League West
Dodgers.
has been a bloodbath this year.
It is quite literally the Wild West.
Staying with baseball, what's on my mind? Joey Votto, longtime Cincinnati Reds first baseman, is calling it quits after a 17-year career, spending it entirely in Cincinnati. Let's not count the half a season he spent in the Blue Jays minor league system. That doesn't count. He never actually suited up for the team.
Can't believe it's taken this long.
So, Yeah, definitely been a fixture of baseball for a very long time.
He has been.
And happy trails to Joey Votto. That will do it for us. For Connor Hines, I'm Ellie Parker. This has been ANF Plus Sports Tonight. Go watch some sports.